How much do school children aged 10 to 11 really know about the lives of children who live in the same country as they do, but grow up in a refugee camp? University researchers Laura and Nour studied the lives of children who live in refugee camps in the Netherlands. They paid a visit to a primary school to explain what it's like to grow up in a refugee camp.
So imagine that you live in the Netherlands, but you do not know for how long you can be here, or at what point you need to return to your home country. This made it very difficult for a lot of the children to concentrate on their schoolwork. They didn't know whether they could actually do the education that is necessary for them to become a teacher or to become a doctor.
After a long procedure, the Dutch Immigration Services tell some of these children and their families that they need to return to their home country. But for many of them, return is not that easy. For example, because they do not have the right travel documents. While the government tries to arrange for their return, these children grow up in special refugee camps for undocumented migrants. Preparations for return might take a long time, and Laura explained the impact that this has on undocumented children.
So our study shows that undocumented children in the Netherlands live in uncertainty for a very, very long time.
Nour spoke about his life living in a refugee camp. Many of the school children he spoke to had never come into contact with other children who have spent years in refugee camps, nor have they thought about why someone might need to leave their home and seek refuge in another country. And while Nour eventually got to stay in the Netherlands, he faced many of the same challenges that undocumented children do.
For me, 2 years. But for some people it takes, and especially in the refugee camps we visited, some people are still there for 12 years or even more. A lot of other people also come to the Netherlands for safety. Like me, for example. I came here because I needed safety. So I lived in around 7 refugee camps. This was my room. I was sharing this room with 5 people. It was boring. I was bored the whole time because I was not allowed to work or to study. You have to stand in line between 6 and 7 p.m. You don't know what the meal is.
I'm very lucky. At least I have a home, food, water, and they have to have meals sometimes that they don't even like, but they just have to eat it because they have no choice to. It's starve or eat.
Laura and Nour shared a little bit about the different challenges these undocumented kids face. In primary schools in the Netherlands, when a child moves away, there is typically a farewell celebration to wish them well and to have closure in those friendships. In camps for undocumented migrants, this can happen suddenly and unexpectedly. For example, when other kids have to travel back to their home country.
So in these refugee camps, a lot of children live, and these children play with one another in playgrounds, for example, like you see here on the pictures. But we found out in the study that children in these refugee camps actually have a hard time making friends with other children because they did not know for how long they could still stay in the Netherlands. So their friends sometimes also disappear. Teachers at the school, they made a photo wall of all of the friends of these children who left the centers, but no one knew where to.
The goal was not to simplify a complex issue, but to build understanding where it often doesn't exist.
And I find it really important to share this with primary school kids because it just keeps them in touch with reality and brings brings the idea of asylum to the country they live in, so they know that asylum seekers and refugees live around them.
The guest lesson ended with many good suggestions on how the government can solve this uncertainty that the undocumented children face, and a storm of questions for Nour and Laura. Empathy and awareness of their own privilege and position in the world was for most a big takeaway.
Not all of us know what being a refugee means. Now that people came and they told us, we're more conscious of what's happening around the world.
What surprised me is that some refugees have to stay in the refugee camps for a very long time, and their future is uncertain. They don't know whether they will go back home, whether they'll stay in the Netherlands, because it's not certain what's going to happen to them.
I feel sad for the for people who their country's in war, and and they're not able to get what they wanted in their dreams.
And the FAIR project gives recommendations to policymakers in Brussels and in the Netherlands on how to solve the situation. But I believe that they also need to take account of the children here in the room today, because their solutions start from what children actually need to feel safe and happy.
A lesson about a life of uncertainty and a powerful exercise in building empathy for the world just outside the school playground.